cracked pot. Once upon a time, there was a monk who would fetch water from a stream every day to the monastery where he lived. He used 2 clay pots tied to a pole, but one of the pots had a crack, while the other was perfect. The perfect pot always arrived at the monastery filled to the brim with water, while the cracked pot arrived only half full. This happened every day, and the cracked pot felt sad and useless. One day, the cracked pot, feeling disheartened, said to the monk, "I'm so ashamed of myself because water leaks out of my side on the way to the monastery. I can't do my job properly." The monk smiled gently and said, "Take a look at the path we walk on every day to the stream." The cracked pot looked down and noticed that one side of the path was covered in beautiful flowers. The monk continued, "Notice how these flowers only grow on your side of the path. I have always known about your flaw, and instead of complaining, I decided to take advantage of it. Without you, I wouldn't have these colorful flowers to brighten up the monastery." Moral of the story: each of us has our own flaws and imperfections. However, these characteristics that we consider defects may serve a greater purpose in our lives. Just like the cracked pot, we can find beauty and value even amidst our faults. We must learn to recognize and embrace our uniqueness because they can contribute to something positive and unique. The empty jar. Once upon a time, a monk was invited to visit a wealthy merchant. Upon arriving at the merchant's house, the monk was greeted with pomp and luxury. The merchant showed the monk his extensive collection of valuable objects. While observing a shelf filled with precious jars, the monk asked the merchant, "What is the secret of happiness?" Surprised, the merchant replied, "I don't know, master. What do you think?" The monk picked up an empty jar and placed it on the ground. He then said, "A full jar cannot receive anything more, but an empty jar can be filled with everything. If you want to experience true happiness, empty your mind and heart of desires and attachments. Be open to receiving the beauty of the world." Moral of the story: to find true happiness, we must be willing to let go of our attachments and desires. By emptying our mind and heart, we open ourselves to the fullness and joy that the world has to offer.